Well, the Steelers are scrambling for answers and explanations as to why their season is unraveling. The latest being at the 41-10 beatdown from the Bengals. I know Michael didn't recognize it. Like it's as if it didn't happen in real life, but it did.
It did. Right.
Okay,
It sure
that's
did.
good.
Gave them their.
Okay.
What's that? How many wins is that? 12 now or 7? Okay, 7. They got to 7. Good job. Good job.
So Minka Fitzpatrick talked about needing to switch things up, how they're doing things during the week when it comes to practice and tempo. And Chase Claypool said, hey, maybe the answer is maybe we need to play some music. You know, liven things up a little bit, the way we do in warm-ups. Cam Hayward was like, hell no, ain't gonna be none of that. And Michael, this is just for you. The moment I heard
I love this.
I knew we had to have it. Here's Mike Tomlin's response.
Here we go.
Mike, Claypool suggested yesterday that he would like to have more fun at practice, maybe play some music. I'm suggesting you're not going to oblige his request.
Well, you know, Claypool plays wide out, and I'll let him do that. I'll formulate the practice approach, and I think that division of labor is probably appropriate.
You know what? I mean, I'm just impressed that he's able to say all this stuff with a straight face. He's listening. Like the question, if you look at him when he's being asked a question, he doesn't give you, I mean, now that's a poker face. You know, is he going to say something funny? Is he going to dismiss it? He didn't emote, nothing. The look on his face is the same. Hey, Claypool plays wide receiver. And we're gonna let him go with that. Oh man, that division of labor is appropriate. I love that. But how do you feel about the request though, Mike? How do you feel about Claypool saying they need to have more fun at practice? This had to be something taken out of context, right? It is taken out of. I mean, this seems so wrong. It seems so crazy. Talk about appropriate. Seems so inappropriate. That's the last thing that should be on your mind.
It reminds me of
41-10.
That was
Juju
Mike.
and the
That was
TikTok?
Mike. That was Mike Tomlin. That was Mike Tomlin's version of Brad Pitt's Billy Bean in Moneyball. That's what losing sounds like. You know what I mean? Like it's like we're not here to have fun. We're not here to party. Like what exactly is there to celebrate? And if you're Mike Tomlin, I don't think there's any reason for you to switch things up the way you've done them, which has been successful long before Chase Claypool ever got to Pittsburgh. Your way of doing things has worked for the most part. I don't know that this team's answer lies in a song. I think what we're seeing is Ben Roethlisberger's swan song. And I think the issue,
there it is.
first and foremost, is the conductor. And that's the quarterback. Now, I don't want to overstate the role that Ben Roethlisberger's decline is playing in the Steelers' struggles. It's more than that.
Why not?
It's more than that. Well, no, I'm just, hey, if nothing else, I'm fair. It's more than that.
Okay.
But that's where I think it starts.
That's where it starts, yeah.
That's where it starts. And so I think this is a team that is struggling the way I expected them to. They have some talent in some spots. And if they don't put it all together, and they'll have their moments, they're still capable of beating some teams on their best days.
They can beat
but
anybody.
they're not, I don't know about anybody, but they're not contenders. They're not contenders.
Right.
That's
what I mean. They can beat.
They're competing with Cleveland for worst situation or worst team in the AFC North. And I think what they're doing right now is they're all searching for answers. And they feel like they got to switch it up. And if loosening up during the week, says Chase Claypool, or tightening up in terms of their intensity during the week, says Minka Fitzpatrick, they're all just grasping at straws right now, man. They're all just trying to figure out, like, yo, this ain't us. But the unfortunate reality of it is, yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And you know how fascinated I am with this organization. It's one of my favorite organizations, not only in the NFL, but in all of sports. And so I'm I'm just mindful of what they've been able to do and the successes that they've had over years and years, starting with the stability. I mean, they are the story. They are hashtag life goals, coaching goals when it comes to going to an organization and knowing that organization has your back even when you go through some tough times. Bill Cowher has talked about this. He was inducted in the Hall of Fame in August, and on his way to the Hall of Fame, he had a few losing seasons with the Steelers. Got off to a great start in his career, made the playoffs his first 6 years, and then there were some rough times. Times are so rough, in fact, that they were in position to draft Ben Roethlisberger after they went 6-10 in the 2003 season. 6-10. Get the 11th pick in the draft, you take Ben Roethlisberger. And I think the Steelers are at one of those points now. They're at one of those transitional points in team history. I think Mike Tomlin will return, but there have been stories over the last couple of years. Hey, what does Kevin Colbert want to do? What does Omar Khan want to do? What does Ben Roethlisberger want to do? And they're at that point where they've got to make some decisions. Maybe it was an emotional decision, but not necessarily a wise one, to bring Ben Roethlisberger back. I know he took a pay cut, but even with the pay cut, maybe they just need to move on. And great organizations.
Oh, there's no maybe about it. Whew.
Well,
yeah.
Maybe I'm saying maybe they should
in hindsight.
have.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
right, gotcha.
they should have moved on before the start
Yep.
of the 2021 season. And there's no shame in a 6-10 or a 7-9 as you start to find yourself, because when you got good infrastructure, which is what they have, good ownership, a good head coach, the scouts, like everything is good with the Pittsburgh Steelers. When you have that good infrastructure, you can survive a 5-11 or updated
ain't nothing wrong with a
5-12
or
6-11.
Ain't nothing wrong with a transition period. Listen, this year for
That's
them could be exactly what last year was for the Patriots. It could be nothing but a transition year. Like that's a team that if they find the right quarterback, there's enough talent in spots and they could fill enough pieces to where they could be right back in contention next year. Look, I got enough respect for the way they do things. And look, a lot of it depends on who's out there. I mean, we just saw T.J. Watt go on the COVID list, which that's why I say it's not all Ben. I mean, that defense hasn't played up to the standard, and we know the standard is the standard. But, I got enough respect for this team to where even though they're underdogs at home, now I'm speaking your language, they're underdogs at home against the Ravens this coming week. I got enough respect for this team to say that it wouldn't shock me if they were to beat the Ravens. We have a whole different conversation about the Steelers next week. So I don't think they could beat just anybody, but they can compete with anybody on their best day. But I guess I'm saying, man, like, I'm not shocked. I mean, I think I told you. I'm trying to remember what game it was. This isn't necessarily an I told you so. I'm trying to remember what game it was. I think it might have been. No, it was when it was okay. They beat the Broncos, they beat the Seahawks, and then they won that ugly game at Cleveland. I was like, I don't believe in them. Yeah, I was like, I still don't believe in them. Then they went and they beat the Bears, and then they tied the Lions, and then the Chargers took care of business with them. It was a high-scoring game, and we saw what happened with a better Bengals team, whether you want to acknowledge it or not. I felt like the bottom would,
of course,
the bottom would fall off from this team this year. It's just a matter of how soon and how badly.
Yes. Yeah.
No, okay, that's
the
nice
Bengals are better than the Steelers, and you know why? Let's start here.
Because the Steelers are that bad. Oh, okay.
No,
okay. Yeah.
They're better. They have a really good quarterback, and the Steelers no longer have a really good quarterback. They have a quarterback who's got a Hall of Fame resume, but he is probably 35 to 40% of his best self, Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
And so it starts there, and it's a better team right now. But that's not saying much. I mean, the Steelers, as I told you,
that's why I thought you were going with it.
No, I'm saying, but the Steelers have been sliding. The Steelers have had almost a calendar year of sliding. We're not that far away from Mike Tomlin saying, another great quote, It may have been in the 2000, it may have been this year. It may have been like January, February. He said it after January. After they lost to the Browns, he said of the Steelers, we're a club that died on the vine. So they died on the vine, but they haven't necessarily been revived. Just a new year started. But some of the same problems that you saw last year, you're seeing this year.
I'll say this as we go to break. So Ravens at home this week, at Minnesota, Titans at home, at Kansas City, Browns at home, at Baltimore. So they get to go out on their shield. Ben Roethlisberger gets to go out on his shield. The Steelers get to go out on their shield. So, yeah, I don't believe that they'll win enough games to make the playoffs, but they can still factor in to this final stretch. So, we'll see. But in the meantime, if you want to give any musical suggestions as we go to break.
Well, I was going to say, what kind of music? What did he want?
The Brother from Another Theme music, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, we need some lyrics. We need some lyrics with the Brother from Another theme song. Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.